Welcome back to another movie review, and today we're going to be reviewing the 21st James Bond film, and the first to star Daniel Craig as James Bond, Casino Royale. Casino Royale was released on November 17th, 2006, exactly 10 years ago from today, and is a complete reboot of the Bond franchise. In the pre-title sequence, we sadly get no standard gun barrel, but we see Bond get his first kill and second kill in a flashback scene. I like Daniel Craig's Bond, but I think he comes off bland sometimes compared to other Bond actors such as Sean Connery. After the pre-title sequence, we of course get the credit sequence. The credit sequence design is incredible and has my favorite design out of the entire Bond series. The movie theme You Know My Name by Chris Cornell is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite Bond themes, if not my favorite Bond theme. It really competes with Live and Let Die, another theme I cherish. The movie begins with James Bond in Madagascar hunting down a linked man to the main villain, Le Chiffre, played by Mads Mikkelsen, who finances terrorist groups. I really like Mads Mikkelsen as an actor, and I think he does a great job playing Le Chiffre. Le Chiffre is a good villain, but compared to some other Bond villains, he comes off a bit stale. But he's a good villain nonetheless. The Madagascar mission leads to a breathtaking action scene, the parkour chase. We see Bond chase the man who is a parkour genius. The scene is amazing, and it's always nice seeing such practical effects and set pieces in movies. After Bond's boss, M, tells Bond to take a break since she is pissed at Bond for causing destruction and killing the man in Madagascar, Bond heads to the Bahamas and encounters Demetrius, who is another man linked to Le Chiffre. This eventually leads to Bond killing Demetrius, who is part of the plan to blow up an airline in Miami. Bond chases a backup guy linked to this plan to blow up the airline, but it leads to a chase scene throughout the airport, and the scene is pretty good, but I think there are better action scenes in this movie. MI6 then confirms that Le Chiffre is planning to win a poker match in Montenegro to finance more terrorism and pay people he owes. Bond is entered into the match, and the Bond girl Vesper Lynd is introduced into the movie. I think Vesper Lynd is one of the best Bond girls. I really like Eva Green's acting, and I think the character arc for Vesper Lynd is great. Vesper is there to help Bond keep an eye on the government's money in the poker game. Another helper to Bond is Mathis, who is a side character I really enjoy. The whole poker game throughout this movie is great. We usually see small poker scenes in Bond films, but to see poker being used for most of the movie was cool. During one of the game breaks, Bond has a fight with men who are owed money by Le Chiffre. The fight occurs down a large stairwell, and Bond kicks one of the men off the stairwell and kills the other guy by choking him to death. This fight is probably my favorite scene in the movie because of how bloody and violent it is. I also love how right after Bond chokes the guy to death, Vesper feels disappointed about the kills and is sitting in the shower. The music in that bit is great, and it shows some great emotions by the two characters. Bond gets poisoned in the later part of the poker game by Le Chiffre's girlfriend, and the scene shows a lot of tension and one of Bond's most near-death experiences. I also like how Vesper is the one who ends up saving Bond's life. Bond wins against Le Chiffre, and Le Chiffre is pissed, causing him to kidnap Vesper, which leads to Bond chasing Le Chiffre with his Aston Martin, but in a stunning practical effect, the car flips over various times, causing Bond to be incredibly injured, and of course Le Chiffre captures Bond as well. Le Chiffre tortures Bond and tortures him by whipping Bond's balls in a knot at the end of a rope. Seeing balls get whipped like that provides some cringe. But I really love the scene because of how hilarious it is. However, Le Chiffre dies in the end as he gets shot by Mr. White, who worked with him at the start of the movie. I honestly wish they would have gave Le Chiffre a more memorable death, but it's not a bad death. The next half hour of this movie is probably the worst part of the movie. I don't think it's bad at all. I just think the last act could have been cut, and I think it runs too long. But there is an upside to it, as we see a great action scene that takes place in a sinking building in Venice after we see Vesper Lynd betray Bond. I think the twist is really neat, and it gives conflict for Bond. Vesper's death by drowning is quite horrifying and sad, which is good. Oh, the bitch is dead. The movie ends with Bond shooting Mr. White in the leg and saying the classic Bond line, Bond, James Bond. So yes, in the end, I think Casino Royale is a great Bond film and easily one of the best Bond films. So yes, I think Casino Royale is just great. I mean, it really bred new life into the Bond series after the incredibly disappointing Die Another Day. Oh, that piece of shit. But yeah, Casino Royale is a great movie. I really like it. I think it's Daniel Craig's best Bond movie and his best performance in a Bond movie, and yeah, so I think it's definitely Daniel Craig's best overall Bond movie and performance, and yeah, like things like Casino Royale, I actually used to kind of think Casino Royale was kind of meh, I was kind of like, but over time I really appreciated the movie for what it is, and the story, like, I used to kind of think the story was dumb, but over time I really like the story. The story is just great. It's easily one of the best Bond plots, obviously with the Chiffre financing terrorism, so yes. like, over time, I just really liked it, and it's come to be my favorite of the Daniel Craig series and one of my favorite Bond movies. So yes, Daniel Craig's James Bond is great. He's great, but I honestly prefer some of the more classic Bonds like um, Sean Connery, even Timothy Dalton. I like Timothy Dalton. I don't see why everyone hates him. I like Sean Connery is my favorite personal. Like it's kind of flip off with Timothy Dalton, but Sean Connery is classic. And then Timothy Dalton is another great one, and yeah. But yeah, I think Daniel Craig is a really good Bond, and I think he does a great job. And yeah, I mean, I think Casino Royale is just a really great movie. It just has a lot of good action. It has good story. Uh, yes, I mean Vesper Lynn is just a great character. She's easily one of the best Bond girls, which is great. So yeah, I mean, Lashif is great. I mean, of course I think there are better Bond villains out there. I mean, I think there are like Scaramanga from Man with the Golden Gun, like Christopher Lee's, right? But yeah, but I still think Lashif is a good villain. I mean, he's not the best and comes off a little stale compared to others, but he still is a good villain, and he has some cool like side things like him like crying blood. Like that's kind of cool. Because he has that huge scar on his arm, which is really awesome. But yes, I think Casino Royale is one of the best Bond movies. It just has the emotion, it has just the action, it has just the spy stuff, and it just has like everything you'd want from a Bond movie, with a serious touch to it, which is good. Like it made sense having the serious touch after Die Another Day, which was just horrible. But yeah, I think Casino Royale is a great Bond movie, as I said. And yeah, I was a little disappointed that this movie didn't have the main James Bond theme in it. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it's really something that I'd like in the James Bond movies, the main theme, and it wasn't in this movie, but it's fine. I mean, this movie still has a decent soundtrack. It's probably in the more lesser part of the James Bond series of its soundtracks, but yeah, I mean, I could see what they're doing with trying to set up James, like this movie's supposed to set up who James Bond is. But I was still disappointed that we didn't get really much of the main theme and a gun barrel. I mean, the gun barrel thing was fine, but I wish we got a little bit more of the main theme. Yeah. I just think it really bred new life into the Bond series, and yeah, I mean, Casino Royale is just, yeah, that's what it did. So yeah, I just like the story. I really like the story. I like the, just the plot, overall plot. And I think the actors did a great job in this movie. Yeah, they just did a great job, and I think just all the characters worked in this movie, and they had a purpose, which was great. And yeah, I just think this movie is great. I mean, yeah, as I said, I've been saying this for a long time, but it is great. I mean, and of course the song is incredible. I mean, the song is just amazing, and I think the design of it is so cool. Yeah. I think Casino Royale just is what you want from a Bond movie. So yes, this is my review of Casino Royale, the 21st James Bond movie. And why am I reviewing Casino Royale? Well, it's the 10-year anniversary today. As I probably said in the beginning of the video, today is November 17th, and 2016, so obviously 10 years ago on November 17th was Casino Royale, so it is a 10-year anniversary, so I decided, you know what, I'll review Casino Royale. Why not? Just a movie to review, and I'll try to review more Bond movies in the future. Some of the more classic ones, maybe, like Live and Let Die, One I Love, and Goldfinger, which is incredible. And yes, thanks for watching this review. I really hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.